And tonight on Joy News Prime, 2024 budget and economic policy approved after majority and minority parliamentarians endured a dramatic headcount.
I think it's something that we will debate later on. But for today, the hairs will have to be counted.
Also, Information Minister says suspension of lane of controversial LI seeking to restrict the importation of selected items is a testament that government listens.
I think as we are here, we engage, we listen, we have a sense of the importance of this policy, and more importantly, the need to get everybody rallying around it.
Well, Joy News research points out IMF agreement is against the restriction of importation. Now, also, what is so special about the anti-gay bill? The chairman of the Constitutional and Legal Affairs Committee fumes, insisting his committee will not be forced to railroad the bill through Parliament.
To draw the attention of the public that it is not the only bill that has been on our order paper. Equally, we have the Interstate Succession Bill 2022.
But Speaker of Parliament declares anti-gay bill will be passed before the House goes on Christmas break.
There are many more things we have to do. That is why even we are now trying to formalize the winnowing stage. And so it will now be captured in the new standing orders.
This story is odd, but it's true. We'll tell you a story of how a man seeking to make a living through robbery accidentally put a gun on his girlfriend and robbed her. Well, he has been jailed for 33 years. The chairman of the Constitutional and Legal Affairs Committee of Parliament, Kwame Anyimedu-Entry, says there is nothing special about the anti-gay bill and Parliament will not be railroaded into considering the bill. Sponsors of the bill, led by Sam George, accused the majority of frustrating the progress of the bill. But Kwame Anyimedu-Entry says there are equally important bills before Parliament and the attempt to make the anti-gay bill some special bill will not be allowed.
I want to draw the attention of the public that it is not the only bill that has been on our order paper. Equally, we have the Interstate Succession Bill 2022 that was introduced in this House, and that one was introduced much earlier before this one, I think 1 month or 2 months later. We have the Ghana Industrial Property Office Bill 2023 and the Chartered Institute of Restructuring and Insolvency Practitioners Ghana Bill 2023, and it has spent 3 weeks on the order paper just for us to go through the second reading of the bill. The Interstate Succession Bill was laid before this House. We represented a report on 21st of June 2023 and has remained on the order paper till date. The question I ask is, what is so special about the anti-gay bill? We have a public business, which is the Intellectual Property Bill, which was introduced into the House 1 month, 2 months before the introduction of the anti-gay bill. So if anybody was desirous of pushing or making sure that the bills in the House should be passed, I think they should organize a press conference on the Interstate Succession Bill. Nobody had done that, because once we are talking about natural carnal knowledge, we are talking about what God created for us, a man and woman, and what we do in the bedroom. If we have to extend this, even kissing is on natural carnal knowledge. All other things that men and women do in their bedroom, they are. What I want to find out is that what is the agency about this? This bill was not considered under the certificate of agency. And all the two sides, that is the 18 members, agreed that we will do this bill and it will go through the normal processes.
Well, Speaker of Parliament Alban Babin says the anti-gay bill will definitely be passed by the House before adjourning for Christmas break. Now, on Wednesday, there was near chaos on the floor of the House when the First Deputy Speaker adjourned the House without taking the bill. Sponsors accused the majority MPs of trying to frustrate the progress of the bill. More from the Speaker shortly. First, listen to Joseph Osei Owusu explain to the Speaker on the floor why he had to adjourn the House.
It's appropriate for us to assume that because today it is not done today, then it is an attempt to frustrate the process. It is not right. I am a member of the Catholic Church, just as you, the Speaker. The Catholic Church has not raised an issue. Are we not entitled to consider those matters? As the Honorable Deputy Leader was the one who represented the House at that meeting, are we not entitled to consider those matters? Did those matters go before the committee? Should we, as he suggested, Honorable Sam just suggested, we could have finished in 1 hour? Please, this bill should last the rest of the, it should last to serve the whole country. There's no need to rush. Today I said it was embarrassing for me when it was found out that the Companies Act, the Supreme Court struck out a clause because in a hurry we included a clause which is so elementary. I remember that I was presiding on that day, and it shouldn't have eluded me that we declined permission for a member to be a director when he has not been convicted, just been charged. It shouldn't have eluded me. But these are some of the challenges we endure because we're in a hurry to pass the bill. So I think that it is most unfair to insist that because it was not taken yesterday, then it means that I am against it, the side is against it, and that the members of the side actually took deliberately frustrating the process. I think, Mr. Speaker, this House is guided by rules, this House is guided by our Constitution, and when it comes to business of the House, Mr. Speaker, it is to be shepherded by the leadership. It is to be shepherded by the leadership, and the leadership did not guide me as of yesterday. There was disagreement. The majority, Deputy Majority Whip said, you think that we have done enough for the day, and the Chief Whip said, they haven't agreed that we have done enough for the day. But Mr. Speaker, look round. We are less than 50 members. We did not constitute a quorum to transact business, let alone take a decision. So, Mr. Speaker, whoever reported that to you, that I did not carry out your instruction, was wrong. Furthermore, Mr. Speaker, the Honourable Member Sam George went on air to say that he heard that you instructed me. I spoke with you here at the podium where we exchanged. He was not there. Whatever we discussed was not to his hearing. How could he have said that on air, that he heard that you gave me that instruction? I think such things should not be done. Whatever Mr. Speaker discussed with me, even if he discussed with him further, it should be considered as being intended for him and not for the public. Mr. Speaker, if we don't take care, we will end up in the end dividing the House in a matter in which we have already a concurrence. We are agreed.
Well, Parliamentary Affairs Correspondent Kweku Asante joins with the details. Kweku, I'm grateful for joining us now. How did Sam George respond to this?
I believe that part of the testimony has been put out by the First Deputy Speaker was really incredulous. We did not believe that the answers as had been given really represented what happened on the floor, and he was at pain to explain that the First Deputy Speaker was just putting out a version of the truth that really didn't reflect what happened. Let's listen to him.
It is very rich and telling that today we are being told that because we don't constitute quorum, we cannot take a private member's bill. Mr. Speaker, we have taken bills in this House, laws that have become laws, with less than 10 people sitting in this chamber, with the First Deputy Speaker presiding. That has not detracted or taken away from the law. Mr. Speaker, the arguments that the amendments on the order paper stand in the name of the chairman of the committee, and so he alone must move them, is practice that is alien to this House. Because we've had government bills that the ranking member, Honorable Bernard Ahiafo, or the deputy ranking, Sosu, or even a member of the committee, Roxon, has moved for government. So when we have amendments that have been agreed, they are not the chairman's amendments. They are amendments of the committee in agreement with the 8 sponsors and the Attorney General of Ghana, in the name, and they stand in the name of the committee chairman. If we say that without the committee chairman's presence, we will never take any bill, Mr. Speaker, then let us spell it out here and now, so that the next time a government bill comes, and the Honorable Joseph Osei-Owusu is presiding, and the chairman is not around, I will stand up and remind him and say that the House must end, because then that will be the precedent we are setting. But, Mr. Speaker, let us be clear. Let us be clear. Yesterday, the leadership on the other side said that there was agreement to end business at a certain stage. Leadership on our side indicated that that was not the case. I rose and drew the attention of the first deputy speaker to the fact that the speaker had intimated, not even in secret and not just in the conversation when he was handing over, but while sitting in the chair, that we were going to take the urgent question, take the laying of papers, and take the bill.
Well, the speaker says the bill will be passed before the end of this meeting.
Yes, the Speaker of Parliament has said so many times outside of the floor of the House that he really believes this bill is of such significant importance to so many people in the country. He says the Ghanaian people expect that this bill must be passed before they go on break for Christmas, and he believes that must be done and will be done.
Democracy is in motion, and we are now emphasizing a lot of openness, transparency, accountability. There are some matters that should not be communicated, but there are some things that people who need to know should know, not everybody. The rest that you stated, please don't let us take some of these issues as precedents. We know that when it comes to consideration stage of bills, not many members are interested in consideration stage, not only in Ghana, all over the world. That is the practice. So when you talk about quorum, then you are introducing something that could really have a challenge in this House. But it's good that the First Deputy Speaker has spoken. The only thing is that please don't take it as a decision to be insisting that there must always be quorum before we go on with consideration. Consideration stage is an informal stage of the processes of a bill. Informal. And so we are looking at those that are technically inclined to do those things and make sure that the right thing is captured in the bill. So please, there are many more things we have to do. That is why we are now trying to formalize the winnowing stage. And so it will now be captured in the new standing orders, winnowing stage of bills. Whatever the situation, I know that nobody in this House is opposed to the bill, and that this bill will see the light of day before we rise.
Now, Parliament passes the 2024 budget and economic policy despite an attempt to arrest a headcount to decide fate of the policy failed. Even before the headcount, NPP MP for Iskado Keten and former Attorney General Joe Gate argued fervently that a budget statement and economic policy is not to be voted on, and that the practice over the years was alien to the Constitution and standing orders of the House. The Speaker ruled against him, but with all majority MPs present, the Finance Minister got what he has always wanted. Parliamentary Affairs Correspondent Kwekwa Asante reports.
Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta will now heave a heavy sigh of relief after weeks of having to wait. His budget and economic policy has now gone through the House after a head count today on the floor. We'll give you the specifics on that shortly. But first, not without some challenge from the majority side, Joe Garte, MP for Isikadu Ketan and former Attorney General, attempted to arrest the head count.
We are voting on the estimates. And at this stage, we cannot be voting on the estimates because they have not been considered by the various committees. And the estimates will be voted upon at the stage that we are voting on appropriation. And we cannot vote on it because, Mr. Speaker, we have not even yet finished discussing it. The reports are not in for the committees. So at this stage, it is merely a procedural vote, or it is not a vote at all. We vote at the end of the report stage, and we vote also when we have the appropriation.
However, the minority leadership and their members believed there was nothing irregular about the process adopted.
Anywhere our standing orders use the word motion, then it is a matter that must be voted on. Because a motion is to take a decision. A motion is that we should take a decision. And how do we take a decision without voting unless there's a consensus? And it's obvious that in this matter there's no consensus. Given that there's no consensus, Mr. Speaker, we will have to vote. And we voted, and you ruled on the voting, and this side challenged and called for a head count. So, Mr. Speaker, you are doing the right thing, deciding that we should go ahead and carry out the head count.
The Speaker of Parliament said the heads will be counted come what may.
But this decision doesn't open up this matter for debate. I think it's something that we will debate later on. But for today, the hairs will have to be counted.
But then came some more controversy when the Speaker of Parliament decided that people would have to stand in their seats and actually shout whether they are voting for or against the budget. The majority leader will have none of that.
Mr. Speaker, so for those who support it, you said the ayes have it. So now it will be for you to ask who support the ayes. And then the ayes will rise up to be counted. That is what it is. This is the convention and practice of this House. Where from this prevarication and trying to vary the others.
Honorable members, this cannot compel the Speaker to let them count your hairs. You better resume your seats. All what I do here, when you go out and misrepresent what I do here to the public and let them attack me, I listen to everything. It's only I don't react. Please.
And the use of the word successively does not mean we should rise in groups. It simply means one after the other. So, Mr. Speaker, you are right. And I see no reason why we should litigate over this matter.
As I've said, I disagree with this interpretation, and I must emphasize it. I strongly disagree. However, knowing that you want to stick to your position, I'll surrender. Let's do the head count. Whatever you want to do, let's do it. We are ready. Let's do it.
Majority Leader, don't give the impression that this is the first time this is being done. We have done this a number of times on this floor. Please.
Ultimately, the head count went underway.
Vincent upon Asante Kwajo, Siama Kwabna Amankwa, Siama Eje Nana Amadopua.
And the budget was passed. 138 against 136, with one NDC MP absent.
Ayes 138. Noes 136.
The MP absent, James Jachikoisen, who has been unwell for some time now and is seeking medical treatment abroad. With the budget statement and economic policy now out of the way, the committees of Parliament will now consider the estimates of the various MDAs before the final vote on the appropriation is taken either on or before the 22nd of December, when Parliament is expected to adjourn sine die. Reporting for Joy News, Kweku Asante, Parliament House, Accra.
Our Information Minister Kojo Ponkroma says the decision to suspend the laying of a proposed regulation to restrict the importation of selected goods shows that this government listens. The government pulled the brakes on the LI after sustained opposition from the minority in Parliament, who blocked the laying of the LI on 3 occasions, and some interest groups. Speaking to Joy News in Parliament, the minister says further consultation on the regulation is now in full swing.
Cabinet has not met since the last time, when he shared the information on what was within the LI and that it was coming to Parliament. But I think as we are here, we engage, we listen, we have a sense of the importance of this policy, and more importantly, the need to get everybody rallying around it. Because what it will do is that it will ensure that the local production of all of these items is boosted. And if you've watched in about 2-3 budgets that have gone by, this is a major point that we've been making. But it is important to ensure that we are all on the same page as we do that. And so the idea is to ensure that the outstanding stakeholders get an opportunity to have their views expressed and considered, even as we consider this policy. The laying of the LI has been suspended so that the various stakeholder groups that still have outstanding issues can have those issues discussed with the ministry. The laying of the legislative instrument is being suspended to enable the various stakeholder groups who have still got outstanding issues to have those issues discussed and hopefully addressed before the next line of action is taken on that particular policy. These consultations usually are meetings, and as the minister mentioned, there have been a lot of meetings that have taken place with the various stakeholders, and that he even had assurances from the minority before he was to bring the instrument onto the floor. And because it's an LI, it's not going to be amended when it is laid. But subsequent to the attempt to lay it, there have been questions, issues that have been raised, and consequently, he's going to engage some more before the next line of action.
Well, our research team has been combing through documents and found that International Monetary Fund is against restriction of importation. Isaac Kofi J is with our research desk here, and he joins me in studio with some insight. Now, we understand that the IMF is against it. What have you been finding in that document?
Well, so we've been checking the same document that the government signed with the IMF in May this year, and you can find on page 75, 76 that there's some agreement that we reached with the IMF that, amongst other things, there are 4 things that we cannot do, and which includes that we cannot, or there will be no imposition or intensification of import restrictions for balance of payment purposes. So it means we cannot pass laws that will restrict import of certain goods and services. And this is in the IMF program at page 75. And what catches my attention is this. The IMF says that these 4 performance criteria will be monitored continuously. And so if government is really aware of this condition in the IMF program, why did they list those 22 items? Which they call the strategic item that they were going to place import restrictions on. So this is in the IMF program. The government has agreed that they will not pass or impose any restrictions on imports.
Effectively, it cannot happen.
Effectively, it will be difficult to happen. Maybe they may have to do some sort of background negotiations and consultations. It can happen, but this was in the IMF program.
Grateful to you. Now, we've been joined by a member of the Association of Ghana Industries, Seth Chumakwabwa. Grateful to you, Seth, for joining us here. You were in support of this particular policy, or LI. What's your response now that it's been suspended? Hello, Mr. Chumakwabwa.
Yeah, can you hear me?
I can hear you now, yes.
Yes, good. So our position has always been clear. We support the LI. We support the effort to promote local industrialization. We support the effort to develop our capacity to support the effort for local industries and indigenous companies to do well in the market. So we supported the airline. Now, the suspension does not mean cancellation. Our understanding is that government says they are suspending it so they can do further consultations. And we have no problem with that either, because right from the onset, I think the agitation or the issues or objections raised was not so much with the principle. The idea of some import restrictions and supporting local industries to produce to feed our market, it's agreed by all. It is the modalities, the instruments or the tools to implement it which were being so if further consultations will help streamline that aspect and bring everybody on board, I think it's a good thing. So we are not against the suspension, but we are in full support of the principle of trying to get the ally of this nature passed to support local industry.
Okay, but you've just heard from our checks that in the IMF document, for us to get this $3 billion support from them, they imposed a restriction, or they prevented us from imposing restrictions on importations. How then do you trust that this LI could ever, be passed by Parliament?
But I want to believe that if government has signed IMF deals, we are only observers as business operators, as associations. If government signed the deal, if government brings an ally of this nature, it presupposes that they may have done some analysis, they may have put it in proper context, and they know that it is possible to introduce such a bill. It's part of the IMF arrangement being in place. So I think that we need to interrogate it further. If that is what the IMF says, why would government bring it in the first place? So I believe that if there's further consultation and deeper understanding, perhaps there could be some clauses, and perhaps in a certain context, it can still be done. So let's give them the benefit of the doubt to go through the mail. Let's go up.
All right. Grateful to you for joining us. Now, trader groups were also vehemently against this particular policy or ally. One of those is the Traders Advocacy Group Ghana, and the General Secretary, Nana Poko, joins us via Zoom now. Nana, so is it a victory for you? What's your reaction to hearing that Parliament has suspended the laying of this bill?
Oh, no, Kojo. Let me first of all greet you and your listeners, and then all the listening ears that took this matter serious and then have come to this level. Indeed, as other speakers have said, definitely it's all about consultation. It has been suspended partially, and it's good that we work on the document because, like you're saying, there are external forces out there who would wish not to see this happen, because places like Holland and countries where we've been going for loans and so forth and so on, they know that what we are importing from them is also giving them, is reimbursing whatever that they give to Africa, for that matter, Ghana. So definitely, there is a lot we need to do. Before,
if you say there's a lot that we need to do,
and everything.
If you say there's a lot we need to do, what are some of these lots and major ones that government need to consider before laying this ally in Parliament?
Areas that we objected to was the formation of the committee, and it was accepted by the minister. He personally called me and said that what we have actually submitted to him is well taken, and a meeting of sort were scheduled to go through more of areas where we think that something could be done, so that at the end of the day we can have a perfect document that will not receive a lot of objection from trader groups like us. And indeed, the suspension of it is indeed a good cause. We will sit down, like the Parliament has directed the minister to do, and I think he will be ready consulting, so that areas where we think is going to be a problem for importers, because like I keep on saying, this is an importer issue.
Okay, Nana.
A trader issue, not any. So, like we suggested to the ministry, technical heads must have to be brought on so that at the end of the day, when we are saying data, when we are speaking, we can speak to data and then get a lot of information before any action is taken.
Grateful to Nana Poku for joining us. He is General Secretary for the Traders Advocacy Group, Ghana. Now today, guess what? Today is what day? It's 7th December. The 2024 election is exactly a year away. If the elections are held today, who will you vote for and why? We have some views.
Due to the economic hardship, it's forcing me to change my mind. So definitely, there's going to be a change in what I voted last year. So I'm going for NDC this time, and I don't think I'm far from right because everyone can attest to my point that I need a change. Yeah.
That's why you're voting for NDC.
Of course, because the economy is very, very hard. I'm not the only one complaining. Even you yourself, if a table should turn and I should hold the mic and ask you, you will say the economic is very, very hard.
Oh, actually, to me, the one I want to vote for is not taking part. So let me say, getting to the time you vote, I will know the person I will vote for.
So what will influence you to vote for that person?
Okay, I don't really know, you get me right, but it will based on the campaign, the thing they will say and stuff.
Who is that person you want to vote for that is not part?
It's Kennedy Onyine Japan.
You want to vote for Kennedy Japan?
Actually.
Why do you want him?
Because he has business minded and he can help the country. Yeah, sure, very sure, 100% sure.
MPP, because of free education. Yes, that's still MPP.
To me as a person, if let's say today is 7 December 2024, and for me to cast my vote, I vote for NPP because I've seen what they have done when it comes to infrastructure, education, and other things.
The truth is that I will look at the particular party, and then the party that is like is policies. It will help my business. That party me I will vote for.
Those are views of some people on the street of Ghana. Well, this is still Joy News Prime. We'll take a quick break. We'll be back with more. To stay. Welcome back from the break. Now, the minority in Parliament says the government must immediately put before the House the lithium mining agreement signed with Barari DV. Former Chief Justice Sophia Akufo has described the agreement as inimical to Ghana's progress and not different from the one signed during colonial times. The minority spokesperson on Mines and Energy, John Jinapo, said the deal must come before the House immediately while warning the company not to mine until parliamentary ratification. Government says the 15-year lease granted the company to mine lithium at Ewoya in the central region has favorable terms for Ghana.
You may be aware, Article 268, and let me re-emphasize, Article 268 of the 1992 Constitution is explicit, and it states that any transaction, including but not limited to the application for a license to exploit a natural resource, requires prior parliamentary approval. On this note, I want to make it loud and clear and succinct and explicit that the agreement between the government of Ghana and Barari DV should be laid before Parliament without delay. And let me assure the people of Ghana that the minority would not let you down. We would scrutinize the agreement. We would not allow this agreement to be rushed through. We would seek the guidance, the involvement of civil society. We will speak to important personalities, including former Chief Justice, Justice Sophia Akufo, who has been vocal on this lithium agreement.
Now, speaking at a press conference earlier today, the Minister for Lands and Natural Resources, Samuel Abu Jinapo, said the agreement is still going through the processes before it will be sent to Parliament for ratification.
Ratification by Parliament is a condition precedent
And as the Supreme Court explained in the Eston Cubic case, an unratified mining lease confers no enforceable rights, and government has always been mindful of this decision. The mining lease in question will be laid before Parliament for ratification. That is non-negotiable. But before such agreements can be laid before Parliament, it must go through a number of processes, including securing Cabinet's approval. The processes are ongoing, and once completed, the agreement will be laid before Parliament for consideration and hopefully ratification.
Now, former Chief Justice of for some days ago described the lithium agreement as one that has colonial-era terms, inimical to the progress of Ghana. She spoke at the Institute of Economic Affairs program here in Accra.
Any area we call Ghana, you should be asking for more counterpart. Do because it's yours. It doesn't belong to the Minerals Commission. It doesn't belong to it doesn't belong to any individual. It belongs to the people of Ghana. If it's not in the area it stays, it's in the territory of Ghana, and it belongs to you. So I here wishes to advise Parliament to exercise caution and patience, secure a modern, best practice-based arrangement that will guarantee maximum benefit for the people of the Republic of Ghana, instead of the usual colonial type lease that benefits foreign companies masquerading as investors in their local cohorts. My view, my legal view, is that a transaction that requires ratification is not complete. It's incomplete. This is a document. It is signed and sealed and delivered. But because it is a deed which has to be ratified by a named authority, that is the Parliament of the Republic of Ghana, this process is incomplete. Anybody who allows this thing to end us in a judgment debt is a bad lawyer.
Now, the Lands and Natural Resources Minister at the press conference fought back, describing the comments as unfortunate. He listed names of prominent Ghanaians who have endorsed the agreement, saying that gives credence to the good work done by government.
One other point she makes, that anybody who supports this transaction must have benefited from the transaction duly. So here I am. I support the transaction. I must have benefited from it unduly. No evidence. Her Lordship, her Ladyship, Chief Justice of Ayakufu supports this transaction and more or less casts insinuation and compromise all of us our integrity. When we all know that the rule of the game is evidence, and that she put something on the table, that Minister Jinapo has some hidden company in offshore where he holds some secret 5% in this company, and that is why he's supporting the deal, then we are having a proper conversation. But you make this statement that everybody, anybody who supports this transaction must be benefiting from the transaction unduly. Sam Jonah, one of the foremost leading mining administrators in our country. If I'm not exaggerating, I'm not too sure that there is anybody, is he inclusive, who can match up to Sam Jonah's pedigree, at least when it comes to the mining sector of our country. Sam Jonah has come out publicly to say this is one of the best transactions Ghana has ever negotiated for in the mining industry. He's on record. It was published on the Daily Graphic. I read it. Per the logic, respectfully, very respectfully, per the logic of stateswoman, former Chief Justice, Sam Jonah is supposed to be benefiting unduly from this transaction. So it may get a little difficult to confront some of these things. Look, I am reluctant to get into a bantam with her or to make comments which can potentially sound disrespectful, but really, our doors are open. If there's anything she has which is superior to what we have done, we are very happy to listen to her. But her comments are, to say the least, most unfortunate.
Now, 28-year-old Salifu Dauda and his friend Ibrahim Kasim set out to make a living through robbery. Well, it turned out that Salifu Dauda pulled a gun on a group of people and took away all their belongings. But luck will have it that one of the robbery victims was his girlfriend. The Wa Circuit Court, presided over by Jonathan Avugu, has sentenced the two accused persons to a combined prison sentence of 33 years. Upper West Regional Correspondent Rafik Salam sat through the court proceedings and our reports.
The duo are notorious criminals and ex-convicts who for long has terrorized residents of the Wall Township. The first accused, 30-year-old Ibrahim Kasim, who previously served a 10-year prison term at the Nsawam Medium Prison for robbery, pleaded guilty to the charge of robbery. The court, however, entered a not guilty plea for him and was handed a minimum sentence of 15 years. His accomplice, Salifu Dauda, alias Ryder, was also staked 40 months at the War Prison by a Lora Circuit Court for stealing, pleaded not guilty, and the case went for full trial. Prosecuting War Divisional Commander of the Ghana Police Service, ACP Albert Adita, told the court that the duo, on two separate occasions in October and November 2023, attacked their victims with sub-cutlass and shotgun and seized all personal belongings, including two Infinite smartphones valued at around 1,200 Ghana cedis. One of their victims was a girlfriend to the second accused, Salifu Dauda, who robbed his girlfriend and a colleague riding as a pillion at gunpoint around the Wadouble Presby Junction, snatching their bags from them. Few minutes after the incident, the unnamed girlfriend placed a phone call to Salifu Dauda and informed him about the robbery incident. Salifu Dauda told the supposed girlfriend that he was around the Double Enclave and would put his ears on the ground to help apprehend the suspect. He was later arrested by personnel from the Police Intelligence Directorate, PID, upon a tip-off. The duo, earlier in late October 2023, riding a black Aloba motorbike, attacked one Abdul Waris on the Wapong Road with sharp knife and shotgun and seized his Infinite smartphone. Delivering the judgment was a Court Court judge, His Honor Jonathan Avugo, sentenced the 28-year-old smoke weaver to a prison term of 18 years in hard labor. He commended the PID of the Ghana Police Service for working to rid the Wall Township of criminals and their elements. Reporting for Joy News, Rafik Salam. Wah.
Yes, I told you on News Prime. We'll take a quick break. We'll be back with showbiz. All right, welcome back. Time for us to bring you showbiz. And Jackie is here already. Hi, how you doing?
Hi, Kojo Brace. I'm good.
You should be back in the late to do the sing-a-thon.
Yeah. But how long can you sing? How long? How long can you
I've
stand
not
on your
even
feet?
managed 1 minute. My voice is not for singing.
Oh.
I only speak. I don't sing.
Okay, you should probably try and get some training.
Yeah, if you can show me when I will.
All right. Now, a Ghanaian journalist by the name of Fuasantua Aduonum has secured approval from Guinness World Records to undertake an ambitious singing marathon, sing-a-thon, lasting between 117 to 120 hours, scheduled to take place between 24th to 27th December. The singing marathon has already garnered significant support.
Sent in an application for the challenge and has been approved by the board of the Guinness World Record. In an interview on Hit FM, Efua Santua has been explaining what the challenge will mean for her.
Doing 117, but we want to exceed 220 to break and set 5 days.
And you have the intention of doing only Ghanaian songs?
Yes, basically. But it's 5 minutes break after each hour.
But what's your motivation?
You know, we've been talking about how to promote Ghanaian music, and the debate and the battles goes back and forth. I thought it wise that we could equally do same, using the same platform to push Ghanaian music.
Well, we've had a couple of Guinness Book record holders in Ghana. Daniel Ashite Ama and Richard Mensah Ofori did so by scoring the fastest time to walk over 10 obstacles while carrying a person on their head. And this December will be one of the perfect moments to put Ghana on the map. For Joy News, I am Jacqueline Ansuma Yobua.
You know, Kojo, you need to start like sending your application to start breaking a record.
Oh, not for more.
All right. Now, in our Dirty December series, we focus on decentralizing events this December. Many times, there's a bit of confusion when it comes to how most events have been centralized in the cities, especially in Accra. Now, the CEO of Ghana Tourism Authority, Advocacy, has disclosed that this year's December activities will span across the country.
For some time, big Christmas events have been centered in Accra. Many regions feel left out. To address the situation, the Ghana Tourism Authority promises this time around things will be different. Advocacy is the Chief Executive Officer of the Ghana Tourism Authority.
This year, we went out of our way to engage a lot of the event organizers. And so, unlike previous editions, this is the first time that we would say we've covered almost every region in the country. But obviously, the bulk is still in Accra. You have more events in Accra because, I mean, the population here, the spending power here, the facilities here, the venues here, and all that. But, I mean, if you take a place like the Western region, you have so many events lined up. Central region, so many events. Ashanti, Northern region, for the first time we have more than 3 events lined up. You have in Navrongo and other places. So, I mean, I think I still say that December GH is...
There are 2 of those events that I'm looking out for.
Which of them?
West Side Carnival. You cannot go beyond it. You know, come see Masquerade in Second Itakra Day. And then we have the Hunter Fest, Charlie.
And I learned this year there's no Made in Taddy too, but that's a topic for another day, by the way. Exactly. All right, now, Throwback Thursday. You know, there's this particular movie that Ghanaians, I mean, everyone can't get over when it comes to Christmas. What movie is that, if you can recall?
Home Alone. Christmas.
Yeah, sure. So now for Throwback Thursday, we cast our minds back to one of the stars of the early 90s movie that still reigns today, Home Alone. Now, Macaulay Culkin, known in the movie as Kevin McAllister, has been unveiled as a Hollywood Walk of Fame star in Hollywood Boulevard in Los Angeles. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
All right, and that's how we wrap up today's bulletin. There's more news on myjoyonline.com.